Welcome to this episode of Ask the Guitar Coach, the only podcast where you get answers to all your guitar-related questions. If you're interested in developing your guitar skills and reaching your music goals, please send me an email at the email address ioannis@ioannis.org. That is ioannis@ioannis.org, so that I can let you know about all the different packages of elite guitar coaching and how you can get private coaching by me. Without further ado, let's go to our question for the day. Is learning new licks the best way to develop my playing? Oh, here's a really good question. However, the answer is not very clear-cut, because it depends. Let's see on what. First of all, think of licks as different words. So if you're learning a new language, licks would be the vocabulary that you would learn. Is the vocabulary important? Yes, it's extremely important. However, apart from vocabulary, you also need to have good grammar, like syntax, and also an ability to vocalize the sounds of the specific language. Which means that learning vocabulary is important, but it's not the only important thing. However, if you have learned the rules of grammar and you know how to pronounce and vocalize the specific language sounds, then learning vocabulary would be your best bet. So, what is the parallel with guitar? Well, the syntax, the grammar, has to do with the fingerboard knowledge and the theory of music. So if you're advanced on the theory of music and you have learned your different scale shapes and chord shapes, that's one thing to keep in mind and put on the corner, and we'll get back to it in a couple of minutes. The ability to vocalize and the ability to pronounce properly has to do with the guitar technique. So the way the body moves on the instrument. So provided you have learned your guitar technique and your guitar playing is on a high level technically, and you also know your scale shapes and your chord shapes and your arpeggio shapes on the guitar, so your fingerboard knowledge is on point, then the best thing you would do to develop your playing, yes, it would be to learn licks. And this is exactly why I said in the beginning of this video that it depends. So for someone who is advanced in theory and technique, the best way to develop his playing is to learn licks. But for someone who is not so advanced in technique and theory, and by theory I mean fingerboard knowledge for now, then learning licks is not necessarily the best way to develop his playing. It's still a good way, but not necessarily the best way. My problem with learning licks is that usually it's being done very haphazardly. So like the player will see a lick somewhere that he enjoys, he will learn it, and then there will be no common point of reference, so he will pretty much not even know where to use it. Now, this is definitely the subject for a whole different video, because it's a big analysis on how to differently arrange your licks, but I will try to simplify in less than 30 seconds the 3 ways in which I classify different licks. So, 3 ways to organize your licks when you learn them. Number 1, depending on the position on the caged system. So this way you would have licks for position 1, for position 2, for position 3. So for the different positions, the different 5 positions of the caged system. The idea here is to have a similar amount of licks, phrases for each position, so that you can utilize the whole of the guitar. A second way of organizing licks would be by the technique. So for example, you would learn licks that use sweeping. Then you would learn those licks in different places, and now you have learned sweeping licks in all different places of the guitar. The third and final way would be by melodic material, which means you will need to learn licks that use intervals, licks that use arpeggios, licks that use scales, and licks that use pentatonics. There are other variations, but I'll just keep it simple in those 4 categories for now. So once again, you learn those licks in different positions on the guitar, and this way you have a much more organized approach to learning licks. So you can wake up in the morning, start your practicing and say, okay, I'm missing some harmonic minor licks above the 12th fret, and then start working with a purpose instead of just haphazardly. So there you have it. Licks can be great and can really be the best way to develop your guitar playing, provided you have your guitar technique and your guitar theory fingerboard knowledge on point. I hope this was a helpful video, and I will see you on the next episode of Ask the Guitar Coach. Until then, keep those questions coming and have fun shredding. Bye bye.